Hello, and thanks for tuning in. I'm Ann Gill, the President and CEO of the Tempe Chamber, and welcome to our informational webinar in partnership with the Small Business Administration on the recently released round of the Paycheck Protection Program. Today, we'll hear from Jim Pipper, the lead economic development and veteran business development officer at the U.S. Small Business Administration, Arizona's district office. The pandemic has clearly impacted our small businesses tremendously, and this webinar will help outline what business owners and nonprofit leaders need to know about the new federal COVID-19 relief package. We'll find out about some of the financial resources available, how to qualify, how the process works to apply, and how to get part of your loan forgiven. To ask questions, we'll send a link to you so that you can get direct answers from the SBA. And I also want to recognize and thank our partners at the City of Tempe, Congressman Stanton's office, as well as the Carefree Cave Creek, Apache Junction, and Fountain Hills Chambers for helping to share today's event. So Jim, without further ado, I will turn the program over to you.
Thank you, Ann. Now, we're here today to talk about what we call PPP 2.0. That term was established by one of my colleagues here at the office, Craig Jordan, our lead lender relations specialist, and we liked it so much, that's what we're referring to. So Paycheck Protection Program 2.0. 1.0 was rolled out in March of last year, and we were given 5 days to talk about it, and wasn't a lot of time. And this time they gave us an additional 5 days, so we had 10 days to roll it out from the date the president signed off on it. So here we are, first part of January, and a rollout. A relaunch, today's presentation is a relaunch overview, and this presentation is developed to provide a general overview of PPP loan processes related to provisions in the economic aid to hard-hit small businesses, nonprofits, and Venues Act, the Economic Aid Act. In the event of any inconsistency between this presentation and the Economic Aid Act, the Paycheck Protection Program Flexibility Act of 2020, the CARES Act, PPP interim final orders, PPP frequently asked questions, and PPP application forms and instructions, and other PPP guidance together, official guidance. The official guidance governs. So I need to say that because we're in a moving target. Some of the things that I will even present today may change just a little bit, but we're comfortable in presenting the best information we have as of right now. Access to capital is the first slide that's in front of us. To ensure increased access to PPP for minority, underserved, veteran, and women-owned business concerns, SBA is undertaking the following steps. When the PPP first draw and then the PPP second draw loan portal reopens, the initial launch will accept loan applications, and that has occurred this week on Monday and Tuesday. The first institutions, financial institutions, will be our community financial institutions, CFIs. CFIs include community development financial institutions, minority depository institutions, certified development companies, and microloan intermediaries. Lender Match will direct borrowers' inquiries to those mission-based lenders who generally assist the underserved markets. Our Lender Match has been posted on our state website, and that information will be talked about as we go along. SBA will continue setting aside dedicated hours to process and assist our smallest PPP lenders with their PPP loans. The agenda for today is the rollout that I just talked about. And I might mention at this point that the official reopening will be Friday, January 15th for small lenders, less than $1 billion in assets. And following next week, Tuesday, the 19th, all PPP eligible participating lenders will be included in the rollout. We'll go over first draw loans and forgiveness updates, second draw loans, forms and guidance, overview of new PPP platform for lenders, additional resources, etc. The SBA Paycheck Protection Rollout, important dates. Okay, I mentioned just mentioned some of them, but they're worth going over. Community financial institutions can begin submitting new first draw PPP loan origination requests through the platform this past Monday, and they did on January 11th. So they had the first shot at it. The reason for it was they were helping our underserved markets, and Congress wanted to make sure that those underserved markets had a chance to get a bite of the apple before others. CFIs can begin submitting second draw PPP loan origination request platform as of yesterday. They started doing that on January 13th. Shortly thereafter, all other lenders, and I've already mentioned the final rollout will be Friday tomorrow for small lenders less than $1 billion, and next Tuesday for all remaining PPP eligible participating lenders. What is a CFI? Community financial institutions. There's a lot of people that were on the call that perhaps weren't real clear about CFI. So they are community development financial institutions, minority depository institutions, certified development companies, and microloan intermediaries. How do I know if my institution is a CFI? If a lender location enabled for origination in E-Tran is checked in the institution settings, that's a lender term. Your institution is an enabled CFI. That's something that on the lender side of things. My institution is not a CFI. What am I enabled to do in the platform now? Organization administrator admin users can begin to add users in the platform and review new and updated materials on the resource tab in the platform. So again, that's backside information. New feature alert. There will be a time lapse between when a lender submits PPP application information to SBA and when SBA provides an SBA loan number back to the lender due to additional front-end compliance checks. Next slide, please. First draw loans and forgiveness updates. Eligible applicants that did not receive a PPP loan prior to August 8th, when the PPP loan stopped operating, will now have the ability to apply for a PPP first draw loan on or before March 31st of this year. Eligibility for PPP loans has been revised to include additional types of lenders, and I'll be going over that on the next slide. But covered eligible expenses, this is important, expanded and now includes the following: payroll costs, rent, mortgage interest, utilities, and added was operations expenditures, property damage costs, supplier costs, and worker protection expenditures. Certain borrowers may request an increase to their original PPP loan amount, and that is more to follow on that. But I wanted to at least mention it because it's on the screen, but that's still a work in progress. All PPP lenders must register with sam.gov. That's new, no later than 30 days after disbursement of their first PPP loan help guide, and that is for our lenders in lender community. Next slide, please. Okay, who can apply for PPP first draw loan? Business entities, examples, partnerships, corporations, LLCs, sole proprietors, independent contractors, self-employed individuals. 501c3s, here's a new addition, 501c6s, that's going to be of interest to some folks. 501c19 veteran organizations, tribal business, and housing cooperatives. This is new, housing cooperatives, destination marketing organizations, and eligible news organizations. Must comply with all must comply with site standards, eligibility criteria, and certain limitations. Next slide, please. Forgiveness updates. Borrower now has the option to select a covered period during when they can use PPP loan proceeds anytime between 8 and 24 weeks after disbursement. SBA will no longer deduct the economic injury disaster loan advances from the forgiveness payment. That's a change. If the lender has already received the forgiveness payment, net of an economic injury disaster loan advance, SBA will provide reconciliation payment to the lender to be applied to the outstanding loan balance. Some folks need to hear that. Under development is simplified forgiveness application for loans 150,000 and under. We'll be going over some of that in the following slide. So next slide, please. PPP second draw loans. Eligible borrowers that previously received a PPP first draw loan may apply for a PPP second draw loan of up to $2 million with the same general loan terms as their PPP first draw loan. For most borrowers, the maximum loan amount of a PPP second draw loan is 2.5 times the average monthly 2019 or 2020 payroll cost up to $2 million. For borrowers in the accommodation and food services sector, NIAX Code 72, the maximum loan amount for a PPP second draw loan is 3.5 times average monthly 2019 to 2020 payroll cost up to $2 million. PPP second draw loan applicants must use the SBA Form 2483 SD borrower application, and I will highlight those in an upcoming slideshow. So next slide, please. Next slide.
Sorry, I believe I went to the next slide. On my end, it shows who can apply for PPP second draw.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No problem.
Thank you. Is there any way we can edit this? Targeted, who can apply for PPP second draw loan? Targeted eligibility. A borrower is generally eligible for a PPP second loan if the borrower, one, was eligible for and previously received a PPP first draw loan. Two, has or will use the full loan amount only for eligible expenses before the PPP second draw loan is dispersed. Three, has no more than 300 employees, and four, can demonstrate at least a 25% reduction in gross receipts between comparable quarters in 2019 and 2020. Next slide, please. Here are the forms and guidance for the first group. As I mentioned earlier, SBA Form 2483, that's a first draw borrower application. So it's the actual application form. And SBA Form 2484, lender guarantee application for the lenders. New PPP second draw loans, borrower and lender forms are shown. Again, Form 2483, second draw application, and 2484, second draw lender guarantee application. PPP lender agreements, that I'm going to bypass that. That's between us and the lenders, but it's nice to have information so you see what we're trying to do with our lender groups. New PPP guidance and resources, accessing capital for minority, underserved, veteran, and women-owned business concerns. Those are all hyperlinks. And if they're of interest to you or you want to download those forms, here you go. We tried to make it as straightforward as possible. There's also included some procedural notices that will help answer perhaps some of your questions, both noted down at the bottom of the screen. So next slide, please. SBA Paycheck Protection Platform. For originating all PPP loans can be accessed, shown at the forgiveness.sba.gov. This is the same platform that supports the forgiveness decision process. The platform supports two methods of submission for all PPP loan requests. This is instructions for the lenders. Lenders manually enter, etc. and use of Microsoft Edge or Google Chrome browsers is recommended, etc. Complete information and so forth. So next slide, please. PPP origination and PPP loan request process, nicely outlined here. Create user accounts, submit PPP loan origination request, monitor PPP loan origination status. These are lender instructions, and they included them in the slide because we wanted you to see what the entire process is going on. So thank you very much. Next slide. Okay. Here's some additional resources. SBA PPP lender hotline. Good to keep that number handy for our lenders. PPP platform resources for our lenders is also listed. And here's our web information. Again, hyperlinked contacts for you to follow. And not shown here, but one I wanted to mention is we'd like you to be sure to go to our state SBA website, which is sba.gov//AZ. That'll get you on our main website. We have downloaded a lot of information on there that will be localized information for the state of Arizona that will be very helpful to all of our communities. If you call in to our main number, 745-7200. You're going to hear the voice of one of our employees. Her name is Dana Dolphin. She will be happy to assist you. She tries to respond to every call that comes in before the end of the day. We try to be as responsive as we can. We know time is important to everybody. It's important to us, and we're all in this together. And together we will get through this, and we're going to be stronger when we do. So I know we had a little difficulty earlier, and some of the questions were sent in. And I think, how'd I do? Ann?
Jim, you did a great job. Thank you so much for walking us through that information. Thanks again for your participation and everything you do to provide information to our businesses. And for our viewers, we'll be sending out the slides to those who registered today, as well as a link to this recording so you can refer to it when applying for your loan. In addition, a link to this webinar will be posted on our Tempe Chamber website, tempechamber.org, on our COVID-19 resource page, along with this PowerPoint presentation so that you have all the links. In addition, Jim and his team are committed to answering your direct questions. So please feel free to contact their office. Their phone number is 602-745-7200, or you can also reach out via email to Danine Dolphin at sba.gov, and that is DANIE.DOLPHIN@sba.gov. Also, additional recovery information can be found on the resource page that I mentioned, tempechamber.org. And as Jim mentioned, we are all stronger together, and your local chambers, your SBA partners, and your city partners, we are all working together to move through this pandemic and economic recovery. So be safe and stay healthy. Thanks so much.